That right there started with a few still images from ChatGPT and somehow turned into a full anime scene. Either way, I have the full workflow and tutorial in order to create this scene. And I think people are really sleeping on ChatGPT Image 2 and Seedance 2.0 to make anime. But in this video, I'm gonna show you how. First off, I have to give you a quick backstory. I originally was trying to actually not make this vampire type character. I was actually trying to make, well, a famous scene from Naruto. And, well, if you know this scene right here, this is Itachi. Famous scene where he's perched on top before, well, he betrayed his whole clan. But besides that point, it was a very iconic scene. And I was trying to recreate that with Seedance 2.0. But as far as I was able to get this realistic image of Itachi right here, hard, I know. That thing is good. But with Seedance 2.0, as it is right now, they're heavily restricted on copyrighted material. So even with me trying to make it as ambiguous as possible, Seedance 2.0 wasn't taking it. So I decided to take it into a different approach and have, instead of it being Itachi, I can make it more like a vampire tale or more like a vampire anime. But regardless if it's Itachi or Dracula, which is, by the way, the character's name, first step of all this is, well, character design. Is what do you want your character to be like? Of course, for mine, I had to make mine a Dracula-like looking person. So I asked ChatGPT to, well, give me Dracula, but with all the drip that comes with Itachi, right? And if you see, Dracula is dripped out, and you can see that he has aesthetics from Itachi. But first things first, I will create a character model for Dracula, the vampire lord. And this consists of a front, back, side to side pose of him, as well as key aesthetics. And so I asked ChatGPT to make me this character aesthetics because, well, this is going to come in handy later on when we will make the anime scene. And what they gave me was this image right here. And we see, bro, is dripped out, my boy. You see here, we have the front, back, side to side, but we also have face close up so you can see how he really looks, and also the crimson cat eyes. And then we also see, of course, look at this. Look at the chain. Look at the pendant. Look at the AP. Look at the boots. What are those? Balenciagas? Hey, my boy dripped out. And then, of course, you couldn't forget the cloak, my boy. What is that? Chrome hearts? Hey, either way, Dracula is dripped out, and that's the character model I decided to go with. But since I now have the character model, I now have to figure out, well, what scene do I want? And well, the scene is still going to be inspired by that Naruto scene with Itachi's on top of that pole. I'm gonna have, instead of it being Itachi, Dracula. And I want him to reveal basically his red cat eyes, but then dissolve into these bats. And so what we see here is that I then asked ChatGPT to give me a storyboard for this transformation for Dracula using the character model. And it spat out this. As you see here, it has the wide shot of Dracula, the slow zoom, the close up, and then a tighter shot. And then the eyes begin to open. And then you see him, of course, with the eyes fully open. You see the moon in the background turn red, and then he starts dissolving into the bats, and then he disappears, which is what I want to illustrate. You can make the storyboard shorter or longer depending on how much detail you want, but of course, the more details you give it within the storyboard, the more the AI is going to be able to give it to you exactly how you want it. If you gave this same story with maybe the first, middle, and last frame, or the first little and last storyboard, for example, 1, 7, and 12 on the storyboard, and then fed it to ChatGPT, it would do a lot of the guesswork when it came to it when trying to make it. And when I ran through Seedance 2.0 with this, I was using CapCut because they have Seedance 2.0 inside of it through Dyma. And so I added the character model as well as this 12 panel shot, this 12 panel storyboard for the Dracula opening scene. And then, of course, another step you have to do is give it a rough second by second breakdown of what you want. And how you would do that, you would ask ChatGPT to then break down the storyboard into the beats, into the time step breakdowns, and then it'll give you something like this. And from there, you copy and paste it into the prompt, and you have to use these @ characters to then reference the images. So for example, at the top of my prompt, it says use image 1 and then as the storyboard guide, and image 2 as the Dracula character reference. I used the @ symbol to point towards the storyboard, and then I added the character reference for the generator. And then, well, I let it ride. And this prompt gave me this. And if you see, that's very good of a generation, at least in my opinion. It got that slow zoom in with him opening his eyes, revealing the red cat eyes, and then dissolving into bats. Which, if you, this is very Itachi inspired, how they activate that Sharingan, they be spamming that. But also Itachi has those crows, and this would be basically a one-to-one scene if I could have got this working with Seedance, but that's besides the point. For the second scene, I basically had to do another storyboard, but for this time, I wanted to do a scene where he pulls up to a bar or a restaurant and there's people there, and then basically, well, he get rid of the people, if you know what I mean. And so with that happening, with that being said, I gave ChatGPT a pretty detailed instructions on what I want, laying out the scene and how I want it to progress. And ChatGPT spitted out this storyboard here. And I thought it was pretty good. You can see him coming back together, being reconstituted from the bats. And then from there, I created the timestamps and tried to run it again using the timestamps with the new prompt for this one. And when I try to run it, well, it gave me an error. Why? Because if you see in these lower right hand panels here, it's a pretty gnarly scene. A lot of, for YouTube purposes, a lot of ketchup, spaghetti sauce everywhere, if you get me. And that was a little bit too much past the guidelines for Seedance 2.0. So something to note about is that this has to be on the up and up for the most part, but I was still able to get around it, which we'll see here. But basically what I went back into ChatGPT and told it to clean it up a little bit so you don't see all the ketchup and spaghetti sauce all over the walls and everything, and maybe just only leave it to the last image. And well, guess what? Once I put that in there, I did the same thing earlier where I included or referenced the images for the character model that we made previously and the new storyboard. I put it into Seedance 2.0 and ran it, and this is what I got from it. I think that was absolutely crazy because, well, I didn't give it any direction on the music or the pacing, but it definitely nailed kind of what I had in mind. If you want me to make other cool projects, please like and subscribe, and I can be giving out sauce more frequently. And also maybe comment down below whether scene should I try or a different anime, or maybe should I do more with Dracula. Also, for the people who stuck around, things to note about Seedance 2.0 and ChatGPT Image 2 is that, well, I'm using the pro plan for ChatGPT 2. So that means I have a lot of roll of the dice for the image generator. If you're on the free plan, I believe you can still generate images, but you're going to be limited to how many images you can make back to back. So that's at least maybe $20 if you go straight through ChatGPT. And Seedance 2.0 isn't cheap either. I think a lot of the monthly subscriptions on a lot of the plans are like $39, so $40 basically. So generating these two scenes really did cost a bit of money. It's not the cheapest thing in the world, but guess what? It's cheaper than hiring Mappa or some other anime company to do these 30 seconds. And let's be real, it's better than One Punch Man or One Frame Man. But I'm gonna leave you here with the full 30-second generation from the first and the last scene to see how the scene plays out in its entirety. If you want to keep up to date with news, different skills and techniques, you should definitely like and subscribe. With that being said, your boy Dex Not Dexter out.